Right, welcome guys to the first episode of Think Out Louder. Here I am, Mo. That's Oliver. Say hello, Oliver. And
Hey!
There you go. And we have Blake, our very own Blake right here. Oh, we see you, mate. Thanks. Today we're going to talk about three really interesting topics, guys. First up, we're going to talk about Bitcoin. Who doesn't love Bitcoin? It's everywhere in the news. And specifically about Bitcoin being adopted in El Salvador. Blake doesn't like it. I can already tell from his eyes, eh? Our second topic is going to be Facebook and Ray-Ban. Why do these two go together? They've got a partnership. I'm sure everyone's heard of this already. Or if you don't know, you heard it here. Facebook and Ray-Ban's partnership. Is it creepy? Is it the future? We're going to talk about it. Number 3. If the market crashes. Oh my God. Everyone's thinking, oh shit, not again. But now, hold on. We're going to have some unique perspectives on here. That's what we do. We look at it from 3 different point of views. We have our own unique characteristics and we're going to give you all of that, right? So stay tuned, guys. This is the first episode of Think Out Louder. Who's the biggest Bitcoin fan in the group?
I've been a Bitcoin critic.
I've been the longest Bitcoin holder. Bitcoin as a legal tender in El Salvador was made official. The El Salvador Parliament voted it legal, but it took a few months to roll it out to a functional stage where it could actually be used. And I think a week ago now, it's officially been launched and stores like McDonald's and all are now accepting Bitcoin. I was just looking at the stat today. The average time on Coinbase for a Bitcoin holder is just 89 days, which I found is fascinating. Like within a week, McDonald's is accepting. It's pretty historic if McDonald's does, right? What did you think about that?
Is this going to be a moment in history when, you remember 5 years back, 6 years back, people said, I traded my Bitcoin for a pizza, which is now worth $1 million.
You know what McDonald's is really good at? Is taking pocket change from poor people. So we have a third world country whose government has given them some pocket change of some $30 of Bitcoin or something. McDonald's decided, I'll have a piece of that too.
Yeah.
And they were the first to roll it out. It's a similar thing with Australia as well. When Australia was the government was trying to help the hospitality industry and giving out vouchers to people to go and spend it in restaurants. Soon enough, McDonald's and all other fast food chains were introduced technology to optimize that and make it and use it the most. And majority of the coupons were used in fast food restaurants, which was actually one of the paradoxes of the whole scheme. But let's not talk about McDonald's or any of the fast food franchises now.
This is about Bitcoin. So the interesting part was whole Bitcoin community gathered together to make this happen. Like Ethereum, on the other hand, right? Ethereum has like proper infrastructure in place. Bitcoin, overwhelmingly no one's working on it. So for it to be introduced as a currency in El Salvador is pretty huge. And apparently they the rollout initially went pretty nuts. Did you guys read about what happened as soon as they rolled out?
No.
The state-run app, Creview or
something. That state-run app.
It crashed.
The state-run app. They created this app to work on the Lightning Network, and they released it, and they said every El Salvador citizen would get, I think it was $30 or $20. Just we'll put it in the show notes, but $30 in Bitcoin, and everyone tried to download the app, and the app crashed. And then they started getting pissed off, and like they burned and they created riots because they weren't able to get their free Bitcoin. Also, they were not super happy, and the citizens were not super keen on Bitcoin. They felt like it was forced onto them. That was a bit funny.
Funnily enough, when I was reading up on this, 70% of the citizens in El Salvador don't have a bank account. And this is one of the reasons why they wanted to bring a lot of these people from a cash-run economy into a digitalized currency system. And I think there have been a lot of factors in El Salvador taking this drastic step. And I think one of the most biggest factors for them to do this drastic step is El Salvador uses the US currency. And they've been really suffering from it. 23% of their GDP is lost in transactions on just their currency. So having a young president who brings in radical ideas into an old-fashioned guerrilla-minded, civilist-minded government actually was encouraging. So a lot of people were initially very interested in having crypto as a new currency. It had its perks.
Yeah, so here's my take on this, right? Anything that is newly launched has a bumpy start. So I think that this is going to be a defining moment in crypto history, right? A currency which was born on the internet, lives on the internet, nobody's seen it, touched it, felt it, but it exists. Such a currency can now be used in a country by civilians legally to buy stuff. It's been there in other countries where people have used it, but it's not gained any sort of government recognition except for all the restrictions that people have tried to place on it. I think El Salvador here has really been a trailblazer. And I think that in future, 10, 20 years down the line, I think the people of El Salvador are going to be thanking their president for making Bitcoin their legal tender.
I think it's still a bit dynamic. A lot of the citizens of El Salvador have their concerns because they come from an old mind of thinking, and this is completely a very radical approach to them. Part of the reason why I find the president of El Salvador to be a bit too radical in his approach is also because he and his colleagues are Bitcoin fans and have been holding Bitcoin for a while now. And as part of this move towards Bitcoin as a currency, El Salvador bought close to 650 Bitcoins, which is worth 65 million something US dollars. And the moment the first issue happened, as you mentioned earlier, where the app crashed. So there's a flash crash on Bitcoin at some point, maybe last week or something like that, and it dropped $2,000 before it recovered. So the first thing the president of El Salvador did was he bought the dip.
Yay!
And he tweeted it out. What a baller move! 150 Bitcoin.
And he tweeted it out, and like his ideology is, if you have a dip, you buy it and you create this demand, and so your currency keeps moving higher. He bought 15 coins.
He bought 150, I think, but
150.
15 or 150.
150.
Yeah, 150. Okay, 150. But then, but that's beside the point of how much he bought. The thing is, Bitcoin has always had a drop which is more than 5, 10, 15, 20%, and it keeps happening up and down. If the financial institutions are a casino, Bitcoin is where everyone goes to put their money in, right? Because the drops are big, but the rises are also big. However, if you have a financial mindset of investing for the future, in the past, if you take 1 year, 2 year, 5 year, 10 year horizon, the best performing asset has been Bitcoin. And there's no reason why this trend cannot continue. If that's really true, El Salvador and its citizens are going to be rich in the future. And this third world country, as we refer to it now, might climb to a first world status just because of crypto.
There was this thing I heard in a podcast where they were talking about this exact thing, like countries that have barely anything like going. I mean, we shouldn't be saying that, but like sort of developing countries, in order to get like a spike, if they take a little bit of risk by adding this Bitcoin, starting and being an early adopter of Bitcoin as a government, they can actually push forward their whole economy once like Bitcoin actually explodes to like say $1 million, maybe 5 to 10 years from now. Like these guys would have a leg up compared to already developed countries like say China, like say US and China, who are like not allowing Bitcoin to sort of just go or like governments accepting Bitcoin. So that's pretty interesting. I found this article online. It's called, or this website called BitcoinTreasuries.com. It basically tracks the biggest Bitcoin institutions, governments, as well as companies that hold Bitcoin. And in terms of countries, at the moment, there's 4 countries who own Bitcoin or put Bitcoin in their treasury. And that's Bulgaria, Ukraine, El Salvador, and Georgia. I think in a few years' time, this would grow in number like quite rapidly after what's happened with El Salvador.
There's one concern which I personally see, and this is just in terms of explosive growth. When you have a currency which is as volatile as crypto is, in the chance that Bitcoin does exponentially rise, and El Salvador people from El Salvador are overnight millionaires or whatnot. In any scenario where a country and its citizens have newfound wealth which they did not earn, they've always spent that money unwisely. It's just like, have you seen the paradox with lottery winners? Majority of lottery winners have lost their money by not being good at managing finances. So it's in terms of its as an asset class and its value, potential value being rising exponentially. If they gain money, they will pretty much lose that money as well, and that actually adds more volatility to the whole Bitcoin ecosphere.
This particular scenario is going to be different, and I'll tell you why. Lottery system, one person takes it all, whereas here everyone is getting a piece of the pie. There are going to be stupid people who are going to blow it away, no doubt about that, but there are going to be smart people who are going to store it and leave it there for their children, for their grandchildren, and keep it growing. And I think this is where we don't really, to be honest, I don't understand exactly what the impact is going to be. None of us do. But I can say from the initial reaction, everyone in El Salvador is a bit richer than they were before, just because the price of crypto has gone up since the time that they bought it. How often does that happen when the government gives you money and it's actually more than when they gave it to you in a little while? This is inflation eating up their currency and everything, but Bitcoin is going up. I feel this is going to be it's interesting times, that's for sure. But
it's a defining moment, yeah.
However, one point is, I think we all are skipping over the security issue and the anonymity that crypto brings to people. Is crime going to increase? When people are spending money anonymously without the government tracking it, are they going to pay the taxes? How are people going to pay taxes on Bitcoin? Right? All of these questions, I think, are going to be in focus, and I'm sure people sitting in the United States, people sitting in Australia are keeping an eye on this, the lawmakers, to see how it actually runs. It's a test case. If it works, US, you just counted out a few countries, Bulgaria, Georgia, etc., which actually hold Bitcoin in their treasury. But how many Americans hold Bitcoin in their bank balance? How many American companies? And I would say in a capitalist country like America, it's pretty much run by the companies. If the biggest companies are holding Bitcoin, are the countries themselves holding Bitcoin? Even in this aspect of crypto, because China has retreated now, US is king, and they wouldn't mind letting crypto be the currency of the future as such. And I think this is a good segue into our next topic, Should we jump into that, or any last points?
Oh yeah, I'll say one last point. I feel like El Salvador's first step depends on a lot of other factors as well. In terms of, yes, China does not hold as much crypto because of its lesser mining, but El Salvador, as a small country, is dependent again on the larger Bitcoin community. Just like they were dependent on US dollars and its use across the world and its fluctuations and all the issues it has, El Salvador will be dependent on all the volatility that can happen across the world. And the only reason the stability can be brought to a cryptocurrency is when it's being used in day-to-day purposes, and more countries use it. So if as long as more countries are on this pathway, El Salvador has done the right thing, and actually it'll be a great move for them and their citizens, and also the mining aspect as well. If they are able to bring in miners as they hope, especially crypto miners, and that actually brings them more crypto on their shore, which actually helps them leverage against the entire Bitcoin community.
Yeah, good points.
Yeah, just to close that, I think it's like it's analogous to buying like an extremely risky stock. It can be like the best move, or it could like fucking be worse for them, worse than how it is now, you know. So that guy's a baller, but quite risky.
Definitely. I think all of us can agree on the fact that it's a baller move. It is risky. If it pays off, El Salvador is going to be in the history books forever. If not, they're still going to be in the history books. So, win-win. Now, next topic, I think we can jump straight into the Facebook topic with Facebook and Ray-Ban, because this also ties in with the privacy of citizens, and how are we moving into a world where people have no privacy? You wouldn't know someone sitting across you on a subway is wearing these Ray-Bans and they're recording you. You wouldn't know if it's kept on the side of your coffee table, whatnot, recording you. It's quite the scary prospect of Facebook partnering with these.
So someone wearing sunglasses is even more creepier than before.
Correct, yeah. So sunglasses have just inched up a notch in being creepy, thanks to Facebook. So I think... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, it's that company, Luxottica. Yes. Jesus. No wonder. It's like you need one evil conglomerate to shake hands with another big conglomerate. That's like, let's make more money.
Yeah.
And find more ways to be more creepy and pick pennies from people's pockets.
The best part is you choose Facebook for that. Facebook is like the most, the least trusted, and in terms of privacy, the least trusted brand. And Ray-Ban, which is like the most iconic sunglass brand, and they didn't even choose any like style. It's their iconic Wayfarers, their most famous sunglasses. It was. I thought it was a pretty insane move for Ray-Ban. I don't know why they did it. Maybe I don't know, their sales is declining or something. They want to redo their brand. Adding this, and do you know that this has been tried in the past multiple times and it's failed? So Google Lens, they tried way beyond it. It was augmented reality, but Snapchat had Snapchat glasses, and they released it looked pretty good, but it turns out like consumers did not want it, or did not want to be seen in it, so it didn't work. And the idea was they would take snaps directly. I mean, the idea sounds cool, but the consumers didn't want it. So this is Facebook's attempt at trying to nail this market. Which I find fascinating, but I am on the side that it's not going to work again.
Why
what do you guys?
Why do you think it won't work?
First of all, it didn't work in the past. So that's one point. Like if it didn't work in the past, it's likely not going to work again. But you can make an argument saying that maybe this time it's different. People are way more used to, taking videos, and this is making it more easy. But somewhere down the line, I personally feel that the creep aspect kicks in, not only for the people on the other side, but the people don't want to be perceived as being creepy. The idea that someone will think I'm creepy by wearing glasses with cameras is enough for someone not to use it. Will people get over that and it becomes cool? I don't know. But yeah, that's what I think the reason why it might not work.
Honestly, I've seen Ray-Ban try a few things in the last couple of years. I think the most interesting idea they've had before this was having Bluetooth earphones concept, where they were resonating sound without having to plug in. So you had your sunglasses, and the sunglasses would sit in on the back of your ear, and it would resonate the sound, and it would be as good as your earphones, just slightly lower. And that was a really cool concept. And they probably are using the same concept on this as well. They're carrying forward that technology. But taking it one step higher, like if in any other instance where this was just a camera and you're trying to capture it locally onto your phone, it seems quite useful to have that moment loved and captured. But the fact that the whole world is, just across, just right in front of you, and you could make one mistake. I don't know. I feel like there's, like, when people put a lot of consideration into posting things, they just don't want to just, sometimes people post live videos or live concerts, but you can still do that with an actual camera, and you can do that a lot better with an actual camera than having it in front of your eyes. I feel like it really addresses only a very niche need. There are better alternatives to do it in better ways. And that's why this technology is too early for me right now.
The idea seems solid though, right? Because it's like hands-free video capture. Basically, It literally works by you saying, "Hey, Facebook, record my video," or something like that. Like okay, Google.
Yeah.
But so the idea is you don't have to pull out your phone to capture a video. You can capture any moment just instantly, especially for people who are like lifestyle vloggers type people.
Yeah, I'm gonna be all blue skies here, and I'm gonna say that this can work. I'll tell you what. There are three major concerns, right, with this technology. One is privacy. But we've already seen this with Apple launching the AirPods. Did you guys know of the issue when the AirPod is just left lying around and it picks up the entire room? People have been living with that for a long time now. It's very, very likely that you've been recorded at work outside somewhere without you knowing. And I think the newer generation are okay with that, and they know this is going to happen. So they are internalizing a lot of feelings with not sharing them. And I feel a part of the loneliness that millennials and after generations are feeling is the fact that they don't feel comfortable in sharing because they feel like the world is looking at them. I think, and this is going to also play into it. But having said that, because AirPods and stuff have existed and these kind of privacy concerns are a day-to-day part of life, I think that aspect might just be overcome. The second part, I think, is the maturity. When Google Lens launched, like, there was no Snapchat. We weren't watching TikTok the entire day. Small clips of everyday people were not as local content, was not as big. But now, one of the reasons why we think we're doing a podcast is because it's local content. We are just regular people, 3 people sitting here and talking about tech. And we think that there may be an audience out there. In looking from that aspect, local content, everyone wearing sunglasses, recording stuff, people still pull out their phone and record stuff. This is just going to make it much more easier and much more faster, right? So I think there's going to be a market for local content, which is short stories, short scripts on people's Ray-Ban, Facebook, sunglasses. Tie that in with virtual reality, the Facebook Oculus cult and everything. And
that's
you know
what they
what?
want to go to. That's where they're headed.
Exactly. This is their game plan, right? You live in the Facebook ecosystem. You have meetings in the Facebook ecosystem, whatnot. And when you get out of that, you're still in the Facebook ecosystem and you're going out with your sunglasses. I think that's what they're playing at. They want to be the platform, the ecosystem for basically your entire life.
I've found a weird connection with Facebook's two tie-ups. Sorry, I found a weird link between Facebook's two tie-ups, Oculus and with Ray-Ban. With Ray-Ban, you are live streaming what's happening right in front of you. And with Oculus and its VR technology, you're sitting at home and you're watching someone else live their life. There is this strange connection.
Isn't that crazy?
Where you can live in someone else's life. But again, I really don't understand. There's still a lot more to understand. I don't know if there's an ulterior motive towards a greater marketization, or is there a new trend or new niche which we haven't well understood, but the geniuses in Facebook have figured out. To me, it's a bit too gimmicky at this stage. Maybe we'll see how the technology progresses and see if there's anything underlying that they're trying to
to address the point about the privacy part, the AirPods privacy point that you made, right? AirPods is still a utility device more than it's a style device. Sunglasses ultimately are more style than utility. And when it comes to style, and if you're perceived as a creep, then it's less stylish, so people won't choose it to look stylish.
Does that stop people from wearing sunglasses on the train? Hell no. And there is an aspect of style and thing to any Apple product. I mean, we've got to be kidding ourselves if we think that the AirPod sells only because it's so functional and so nice. It sells because it's got that. I'm a high class person who can afford AirPods.
Yeah.
Honestly, the AirPods recording any audio is not a big concern to me, because I know I believe my phone is listening to what I say, or through Google, Facebook,
it's already
and
listening. So.
All of these devices, my laptop is listening to me.
Yeah.
AirPods is just one little thing.
Or even the Google device.
So see, here's the problem, right? You think that your phone is listening to you, which means that you think that Google, Amazon, etc. is listening to you. But with the AirPod, it's not Google or Alexa. It's someone in your freaking office who's put an AirPod under your seat listening to your conversations with your boss. That is the distinction, right?
What are you experiencing at work? Are you okay?
Is everything okay? I don't know what kind of a work environment you have.
I'm just going to the extreme, right? It is a possibility, and that's where the creepiness. When a big conglomerate like Google and stuff uses this technology, everyone's like, oh yeah. But the power lies in it with the individual. I read this or heard this in another podcast where people are saying that, how 20, 30 years ago, the individual did not have that much power. Today, the individual has a lot of power. You can reach a huge audience. You can build stuff at home. You can learn absolutely anything at home. So the problem is with the individuals using this technology for bad and not the corporations as such. Well, they may be also a part of it, but the true problem lies in controlling the individuals, I feel.
Well, yep. And with this, you're empowering the individual a little bit more with these, with him being able to share with his sunglasses too.
Yeah.
Honestly, the technology is.
Yeah, it's. Man.
The technology is pretty good, actually. The reviews have been great because right now camera technology is pretty awesome. Facebook can make physical devices, so they actually nailed it compared to, say, something like the Google Glass, which was like ugly and didn't work that well.
Yeah.
This one actually works really well. The camera is very clear and all that.
For me, again, I'm being a skeptic. There is absolutely no desirability to go and spend $400 for sunglasses that you can break easily, and for a technology that I don't need. It feels like a liability, if anything. But I'm pretty sure there will be people who might need this technology. But there's no absolute desirability. When VR came out, Oculus, when it came out, it was incredible. They were able to sell this whole concept of, being able to transform yourself into a whole other world. So that had an awe to it. Unfortunately, it didn't deliver as much as the concept promised. But this one, with this Facebook idea with the Ray-Ban, this is a concept which has been proposed before, and it has not landed before. They're trying it again. Maybe this might be third time lucky. I'm not sure, but we'll see how it goes. But it just doesn't, interest me. I don't
the
think
way
about
I
it.
see it as a great strategic move for Facebook is the fact that for Facebook, what is a good thing for Facebook if more people post stuff, right? So they'll try to make it as simple as possible to post stuff. And now there is such a huge, as you brought out the point of the power with the person, right? Like the number of people creating content and sharing their personal lives is insane, right? Podcasts, videos, TikTok, influencers, all of these people. So enabling and creating this device that'll help them do it better and more seamless will not only help them, it'll grow the market. There'll be more people trying to do this. If this takes off, I'm not saying it will. I don't want it to, but it'll grow the market. Like people who weren't otherwise doing it will now enter the ecosystem and create. Facebook makes money by people creating content and people viewing their content. So they'll try to make it as if people create more content, which is, if it works, pretty genius. Actually,
I agree. Yeah, if it works, it's the same concept of Bitcoin in El Salvador, man. This is AR in our lives.
yeah.
It's visual thinking.
We didn't talk
scales.
about how it feels to be on the other side. What do you think? What would you feel if someone is standing in front of you and recording you?
I'll tell you. I had a personal experience with this. Okay, that's why that is why I bring up the privacy issue, right? I used to do fly in, fly out work, right? I used to go to site. I won't name the company, but I used to go to their warehouse, and one day I found in our cubicle where the employees sit, in one of the pen and pencil stand, an iPod just lying there, and it was charged. Nobody, and I found it. I was like, "Who's this?" I asked, "Who's?"
Was it your desk?
Yeah. No. Well, it's like a square desk which has like, all four corners people are sitting, so it's in the middle. So it could be anyone, right? But just the fact that someone was listening to our conversation, I mean, it didn't feel weird at the time. But then you start thinking, what have you said? What are the things you say to your employees, your friends, your colleagues that you may not want your boss to hear, right? But this kind of...
What if what if someone left an iPod by mistake?
Yeah, but we asked everyone.
Probably the most likely situation.
It was...
And don't claim it.
Unclaimed, one AirPod, just the with the mic, the part with the mic.
Maybe they went for the latest.
You should have threatened that I'm going to throw this in the dustbin. I'm going to throw it out the window. Are you sure it's no one? Because AirPods are expensive. I cannot imagine why someone wouldn't pretend like, oh, I dropped it by mistake.
Yeah, well, you want to own up to something like that and say that, yeah, I was probably lost it, but. People had already got this in their mind that someone's trying to record them, okay, and you stand up and say, no, it's mine. You're going to be the asshole for the rest of the year, man.
Wall Street.
I generally forget stuff all everywhere. I hope I don't get framed for anything.
So Wall Street Journal did
Wall
Street Journal did a piece on this as soon as they launched it, and they went around asking people wearing that device. So the journalists have got that device, so they went around asking people and just first started talking, and after chatting with them, they're like, so I've been recording you, what do you think? And people freaked the fuck out.
Yeah.
They're like, you can't do this. Yeah,
Oh man,
it's crazy.
It's gonna
But
get crazy.
just the last point, right? Remember, we started by saying that people will be perceived as creep, and it's a privacy issue. The day I realized that something like this can actually work is the fact that Alexa's and Google Home device went mainstream. That to me is fucking historic. Like keeping a listening device, keeping a smart speaker in every room in your house, or even in your house, which is potentially capable of listening to you, right? Being okay and living with that is an insane development in privacy, actually. And now,
Exactly.
I don't know what this statistic is, but majority of homes in the US have Alexa devices and Ring devices and all of that. So people are okay to make that trade-off when the benefit is trumps the harm or the perceived harm.
Okay.
I think we can do a show of hands of who owns a Google Home device.
I own not the Google Home device, but the Amazon Alexa.
So, like, also,
Yeah,
all
but
these listening devices.
I don't actually use it. I've unplugged it and I've just kept it. But I got it free, so I started using it just because I got it free.
All right, chop.
Next topic.
Oliver, what's next on the topic?
So this one was interesting. It's not a news event or anything. It's just a personal opinion. So
I know this.
So the third topic, I don't know if you guys have an answer, but this is not a topic or a news situation. It's just an interesting thing to think about. So say, for example, and we should all have an example, or if we don't have, we should have soon after this call, prepare, right? If the market falls by 60%, what's the one or two stocks that you will go heavy into, to make use of the moment? Who wants to go first? Who has an answer?
I can go for this. So ideally, right, I wouldn't want to do anything. That's my ideal scenario. But theoretically, if I'm going to go and buy stuff and think that, okay, the dip has already bottomed out, there are a few companies. Here's my learning from COVID. When it dropped, it also rose back like a freaking slingshot, yeah?
Exactly why.
And the companies that double, triple were an easy bet were the already existing big moat companies, right? So I would just go for the Amazons and the Microsofts and everything. I just put everything I have on there.
Hold on. Let's make it more interesting. How about we think about one company? What's the one company you would be comfortable putting a lot of money into?
Okay, that's a good one. Like if you had to pick one company, I would just go for something like an ETF, a broad market ETF. This is me just being as safe as possible.
This is you being
Pussy.
just you.
Is this going to get blurred out? Are we doing a PG-13 version of this?
Alright, if I'm gonna moonshot it, I fucking put it on GameStop, man. Let's fucking go 60% down. Buy the fucking dip, the biggest dip you're ever gonna see. Buy it.
That was like yesterday for GameStop.
I think the market's going to crash 60% was like a once in a decade phenomena, and it was not even as a once in a decade phenomenon. It was not something which is predicted. It happened once with the GFC and second time with COVID. So in terms of being prepared for it, pretty much most of the market rose back to where it was, but now knowing the lessons learned from the previous two crashes, I know that the sectors change in their prospects. I know, like with the GFC, I knew the banking sector and the real estate sector was hit really hard, and I knew they were no longer as good looking as they were before the financial crisis. And I knew a lot of the other sectors took this as a platform to maximize growth and raise more equity and have that cycle of growth from there on. It's similar with the last COVID crash as well. You could see a lot of the hospitality sector, the airline sectors, and all the value stocks, surprisingly value stocks, took a dip, and a lot of them are still recovering to come back to their heyday glory. But where the money has flown into is technology stocks and retail and other sectors which were underlying changes of trends and technologies, which during this pandemic has pushed the trends farther. So anytime when there's a 60% crash, you will have to look at what is causing this crash. Is this financial systems like banks and real estate, or is this a health pandemic, or is this war? It could be World War III. For all we know, we can't predict what happens in our day-to-day life.
So basically,
especially the macro factors, and these macro factors are going to affect our everyday lives, and as well as what our money is doing in the broader market and broader economy as a whole. But what we can do is know that as long as the human spirit is strong and the economies and the countries are trading with each other, there is always money to be made in the share market.
Fucking engineers. I thought this was a fun question, and you dissected it to fucking eternity.
Exactly.
But really good.
How long did I speak here?
You went on a monologue about human what?
Yeah. The question.
The human spirit.
This is the problem with engineers.
This is not an engineer, dude. This is a philosophical answer. I went like A to Z on it.
What you were saying is based on the cause of the 60% drawdown. You make a decision and invest your money in that particular stock, either for or against. Like, would you double down on a sector that has taken a beating, or would you stay away from that sector?
So, especially in that scenario, some sectors where they are dependent on equity, I would shy away from them. And some sectors which are already financially rich, and they may be volatile, but they have a lot of room to grow with the cash that they have in hand. That's where my money is on. Throw money where there's already money in, and they'll make more money for you.
Right.
Wow, that's the tagline. Throw money where there's already money, and it's gonna make more money for you. You heard it here. You heard it
first here. You won't find it in the books. You won't find it in the investing book.
Oliver, here's a question to you from Mo, especially from Mo to Oliver.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on the 60% market crash?
Yeah, I went easy. I just thought of one stock. But yeah, so if the market for whatever reason crashes by 60%, I will go balls deep into Shopify.
Shopify.
100%. Like, there is no company in my portfolio that I can think of is sure to be a winner or to be way bigger 10 years from now. I missed the boat slightly early last year. I wasn't ready yet. Like, I delayed entering or putting a position in Shopify. And I mean, there's nothing like miss the boat, but I got in at a higher price. But if the market does crash 60%, I will go in or put it in Shopify.
Oliver and Mo, here's an interesting scenario, because the easy alignment is always technology stocks. So whatever's causing the 60% crash, suppose it's because the internet has crashed, like the servers and the underlying hardware has had a serious downfall, and that's triggered this crash because everything is dependent on the internet. So suddenly, internet is not as easily accessible, and it's affecting all sectors throughout, and some sectors are being more affected. So say in a scenario where your technology stocks are taking the market down.
Well,
What happens then?
when if the internet is crashing and all the internet companies are crashing, I think the least of our concerns are going to be which company we're going to buy.
I'm not saying the internet will crash as a whole one day, because no one's going to turn the plug off, because the whole internet is run on this whole major grid of cables and this connectivity. I'm just saying part of it has crashed and the internet is slow,
Okay, I get. It's a theoretical.
In a premium. It's a theoretical scenario.
Hypothetical is the right word. Thank you, Oliver.
Internet can't crash, by the way. For internet to crash, every server in the world have to crash simultaneously. So
yeah. Okay. So hypothetical situation where internet is taking all your companies down. Which company do you buy then? That's the question, eh?
Yes.
Yes. You know what? I'm gonna buy the internet company which dipped the most. Because people are not gonna leave the internet. Come on,
exactly.
Where are you living?
Exactly. All the more reason.
Yeah. If Google is the company which has crashed the most, 70%, 60%, and the others have crashed 50%, I'll put all my money on Google, man. Because I know that shit's coming back.
So right, for this hypothetical situation, the market's crashed 60%, and I know the automatic choice is technology companies, but say you're not allowed to buy into companies in the tech industry. What other sectors would you pursue more, or Oliver? Who's gonna go?
Okay, I'll say, because I would go for healthcare. Healthcare is going to be universal. No matter what happens, people are always going to need healthcare. Even if the reason for the stock is people's health, healthcare goes up. It's sort of it's not a proportional relationship, right, between healthcare and health. Health of people goes down, healthcare companies go up. Health goes up, and you counterintuitively, health companies still go up because they're still providing great service, which means the population's healthy. So I think you can never go wrong when you're investing in healthcare, right? So in a situation where I'm not allowed to look at tech companies, I would look at healthcare more 100%. Maybe within healthcare, if I had to go for one particular company, this is quite a niche now, because it's just because it's fresh in my head, is Intuitive Surgical. These guys control 80% of automated surgeries in the world, and I'm talking their next 5 competitors are not even 20% of this company. Yeah, they control a huge market share. Don't quote me on the next 5 competitors, but I read a statistic where the next 5 are not even like comparable to Intuitive Surgical. So I think, a great moat company in the healthcare field. Look at one look at the graph here, and you will see that it's just going up. Yeah, there's no down.
That's a great pick, Mo, because it ticks one of my boxes as well. Because the company has a lot of cash. When things go down, throw cash down, more cash.
Cash is king.
Cash is king. Yeah.
Speaking of cash, my investment would be in finance. The only reason I say that is because remember we were talking about this the other day, and I brought out a chart where the finance sector is the biggest sector. So my logic is, if the internet goes down, people will still need cash. They will still need their banks to supply them with cash and ability to buy stuff, whether it is retail or like healthcare or whatever. So invest in the finance, maybe in the biggest banks or something like that.
Yeah.
How else?
I've just had... Go for it.
Yeah.
I just had a revelation. We were talking about a scenario where the entire market crashes significantly. And although we started this podcast talking about crypto, no one ever mentioned crypto. It didn't even come on the top of your mind. And that does say something.
Crypto won't work if internet goes down.
I don't think of crypto as an investment. I think of crypto as it's going to be a way of paying and using. This is why I hold Bitcoin, but I also hold Ethereum. Ethereum is the currency of the internet, and I've researched this online, right? I've tried to buy NFTs, I've tried to buy all of these assets which you can use crypto for. The best currency on the internet is Ethereum. I don't look at it as an investment vehicle. I just want to have a bit on my bank balance which says Bitcoin so that I can use it when the time comes. It's not an investment for me. I don't think.
It's definitely an investment for me. In the situation of no technology, all crypto requires internet. Crypto doesn't work without internet. So hence
better internet than we have right now, obviously.
Yeah. No, I definitely think of Bitcoin as an asset as opposed to a currency. Like I'm very happy with the currency I have right now. To buy and sell stuff, I don't need a better currency. Yeah, for sure.
You're gonna be crying when you're in El Salvador and you need to buy a coffee, mate. Yeah. Tough luck.
Yeah.
Your Aussie dollars aren't gonna do shit in El Salvador.
Yeah, when I want to buy a Big Mac Bitcoin in El Salvador, in that situation, maybe. But up until then, I'm quite happy with my tap and pay.
You can do tap and pay on Bitcoin too.
Well, that's really interesting, right? Like even if you're investing in a company like Square, right? Square is developing a Bitcoin freaking platform. They are trying to make Bitcoin a thing in America. If it catches on, right? If the only place it has to catch on, in my opinion, is America. It doesn't have a catch on anywhere else. If it catches on in America, it catches on in the rest of the world.
And that's why I was trying to make a correlation between what you just said, the financial sector as a whole, and then the crypto as an asset class. So where, as a cryptocurrency, it has the potential to be part of a greater part in our daily financial transactions, and it could be reclassified into a different sector as a whole. And because maybe one point to add in the El Salvador discussion is that the country was launching cryptocurrency with one of the biggest financial tech companies. Was that Strike? Strike Technologies? Because Strike is one of the biggest companies in that sector. And
Strike is the company that has created the Lightning network. Yeah, you're right. So they developed those apps that work on Lightning through Strike.
So Strike has caught that opportunity like Lightning to jump on using creating a platform to be used for day-to-day life. So that's a whole other topic, though.
All right, that was a very good discussion, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, how do you think this episode went? Our first episode.
You know what? It just felt like a friendly conversation to me, man. When we catch up, we speak about these things, right? And in a time like this, when we're all sitting in freaking lockdowns, we can't meet each other. We've been friends for 10 years now? This is our first episode. This is going to be on the internet. It's going to be there forever. I'm sure we're going to look back on it and we're going to say, wow, we were shit. Right? Because I expect us to get better with time. Because I enjoyed this, and I'm sure people listening will also enjoy this, right? We've got unique perspectives. I come from a point where I'm very blue skies. I'm freaking green frame everything. I think Blake was great as a skeptic. He likes shitting on stuff, and I can't blame him for that. Oliver, your point of views I quite enjoy because they're balanced, and you look at both sides of an argument and then make up your mind. And I think that's a great trait to have, and in future people listening to us will also pick up on these traits, all of our individual traits. And I think this is going to morph, and we are going to be different from what we are today. That's my whole That's my take on our first episode.
I think it went well. We might have to work on the structure a bit more, but I think the topics were solid. We were kind of on point, so I'm happy with that, and yeah, excited for what is in store in the future episodes, because we have a lot of ideas. Okay, cool. So that's it. Stay tuned for the next episode, but until then, see ya.